In this video, I'm going to introduce you to a high quality yet budget friendly rolling shop stool that you could have for your garage or your shop. Now this here is the one that I've used, and I've actually had this thing for 2 years, and it's taken quite a beating, use and abuse, and I'll tell you what, it's held up great. It does fantastic. It's still doing fantastic for me to this day. The only problem I have with it is every time I go to do a project out here and the boys are involved, and right now we're doing a motor swap in my son's truck, so we're working together a lot. What happens is one of them ends up stealing my stool. My oldest takes it so he can work on something, or my youngest one is playing with it, rolling around the garage here, and I'm stuck sitting on a bucket again. And so about 6 months ago, I went out and purchased another one just like this one I have here. And you know, time's gotten away from me, but with us in the middle of this project, I'm ready to get this other stool put together. And so I have this one here, and I'll show you what's involved in that. Now, unfortunately, when I went to look over on Lowe's website so I could provide you a link, they are no longer selling this shop stool. However, I did a little bit more research, and over on Amazon, I found this one here by Torrin Big Red Jacks, and it is the identically same shop stool. The only difference is this one has a blue seat where that one's red. This has black wheels. Those are red. Other than that, everything is identical to these. The boxes that they come in are identical. I even opened them up and went through and checked into the manufacturing. They're manufactured by the same identical company, and so they are the same shop stool. Now this one here is part number TR6350, and I'll provide links to all this stuff that we're going to talk about today down in the description so you can look for yourself. And so what I want to do is I'm going to go through, I'm going to give you an up close of the one I've been using for 2 years so you can actually just see how well it's held up after 2 years of use. And then we're going to get this one out of the box. I'll show you what's involved with getting it put together. And then the other thing I really want to show you is a mod that I did to my stool that just made it so much better, and it works great. And that is the biggest complaint you hear about all these shop stools is in the quality of the wheels. And a lot of times it has to deal with the fact they only put like a 2-inch wheel on them. And as such, whenever you're using them around your shop, you know, you get those little rocks that come out of your tires or fall out of the wheel wells or something. You hit it and your cart wants to fall over, or you fall over. I've fallen over at least 3 or 4 times backwards over the years. And so that becomes a big issue. So what I did is I actually changed mine out, and I put 4-inch wheels on mine, casters, and that makes it better. It rolls smoother. It does a better job. I don't get stuck on all the little pebbles in my garage. I even have these joints that are in the concrete here in my garage. It rolls right over them with ease. It's a piece of cake. And for that, I found these wheels. These are 4-inch swivel casters that I picked up from my local Home Depot. And so I'll provide you a link to those down below in the description as well, so you can pick up a pack for your shop stool. So let's get into this. Let's show you what we have here. Let's get it assembled. I'll show you how I did the mods to it. All this is quick and easy, and hopefully this will help you. So this here's my current stool, and I gotta say I've just been really happy with it. As you can see, it's been well used now that you're up close. In fact, it's still a little dirty. I should have cleaned it up for this video, but you know what? This is real world. This is its condition right now, and it's gotten nicked, and it's got a dent here on the side where the kids have been doing stuff with it, but it's held up very well, and it does great. We'll start at the top and work our way down. Right off the bat, I love the padding of the seat on this thing. There is a night and day difference between the seat padding on this that's really thick and the really thin ones that you get on the cheap shop stools out there. Now, there are times when I'm out doing a brake job or I'm detailing a car and I'm buffing, or I'll sit on this thing 4 to 6 hours in a day. And I'll tell you what, when you're sitting on them for a long period of time, having that extra thick padding makes a world of difference. Now, it's a real dense foam. I wouldn't call it like a memory foam, but it kind of reminds me of that. It's a real nice, thick, dense foam. It stays comfortable under long use. And the vinyl's held up really well on it. It's done good. I think in one spot after 2 years, I developed a crack right there. But other than that, I mean, when you figure this thing gets just average daily use and lots of use at that, the padding is held up really well, and the seat's doing great. Now, the lift on it has done great. It still works perfect for me. It raises and lowers exactly as I need it to. Absolutely no issues whatsoever there for me. Now, when I first got this, I was really leery of this square base as opposed to a round, because I thought it may interfere with moving it and having it bump into things, but I gotta say, at no time has that ever been an issue. If anything, I now prefer the square base over the round, and because I've never had it hit into things and it hasn't interfered. But what I really like in this one, they have one larger tray. It's compartmentalized here on the base, and so here's one larger tray, and what I use this for is I'll put the long ratchets in here. I can throw my impact gun down in there, sockets, things of that nature. And then what I do in my mind is, when it's sitting like this with the large tray to the rear, you have two compartments up front. I look at it as left hand, right hand side of the vehicle. So if I'm pulling wheels off or I'm doing brakes, I put the parts from the right hand side there and the left hand side there, and it makes it easy for me to keep that compartmentalized and keep it in mind. Now, the base here is 15¼ inches square, so it gives you plenty of room to store things. And with it, in terms of its height adjustment, as it is right now, it's set at its highest height, but bear in mind I have the 4-inch wheels that I added later. But when at its highest height, it's 23½ inches high, and when I lower it down as low as I can, it'll go down to 18 inches high. So it's got about a 5½ inch play that I can do in there, that I can make adjustments on it. Now, they also say this has a weight rating on it of 250 pounds, and it's never had an issue with me or the boys or anybody that's ever come help me work. It's just held up great. So this here is an up close of it, and you can see it's just doing great. There's no cracks. The welds have held. Everything's doing great on it. So let's get it out of the box now with our new one. Let's see what comes in the box that you're going to get, and we'll open up the Big Red here as well, and let's see what's included with them, and then let's get it put together. Now I'm going to open both of these up side by side so you can get a comparison, and that way we can make sure everything stays identical on these. Now let's open our Big Red and see what comes in it. So here we have our stools side by side. It's easy to see now, as you can tell, they are identical except in the color of the seats, and in the wheels, they're the exact same stool. Let's get going with our assembly, which is actually really quick on these. Now, what we're going to start with, and let me move this here off to the side. I'm going to put this down here, is we're going to start with our seat base. This is mine, so I can take those stupid tags off of there. Now, before I was mistaken, I thought I saw another bag down here in the box that had the fasteners for the base. They're actually pre-installed into the seat. So you're going to take these 4 fasteners out, and we'll attach the base onto our seat pad. Now, your base can't be installed wrong, so you'll just kind of set it on there, line up your holes, and reinstall your fasteners. And now our base is ready, and we're ready to install it. But before we do, now we're going to address the wheels on the base, because it's easier to do it now without everything attached. So the wheels that come on it, in my opinion, aren't too bad, but you know, they're swivel caster ball bearing with a plastic wheel. They're 2-inch, but they're just not very big, and you know, you have some problems with them. So we're going to take these off and put on those Home Depot wheels I showed you. And to do that, you're just going to remove this nut on the other side. It's a 13 millimeter. And you'll see now, what holds this framework and the tray together is going to be those fasteners. So this is no problem. We'll just leave that like that. Let's set this off to the side. So here's my wheels I got from Home Depot. These are industrial 4-inch swivel casters with bumpers. Now I'll tell you, where you find these is not in the hardware aisle where they keep the other casters, but go down to the aisle that has all their like commercial shelving and the wire shelves and whatnot, and that's where you're going to find these. Now what's included in this kit, it has these 4 little spacers. These are used for when you have the wire shelving. You don't need those for this application. And then here is our 4 casters. Now, one of the things I really like about going with this route as well that you don't get with the casters that come with it is 2 of these have brakes. And every now and then I'm working out in the driveway, and our driveway has a little bit of a slope, and it's really nice to be able to lock the casters so while you're working you don't have a tendency to slide away. Or if you're working on something where you have to kind of put pressure, it's nice to be able to lock the wheels even if you're sitting on a flat surface so your stool's not moving. So I really like having the feature of I have a brake and I have the larger wheels, and as you can see here, we're substantially bigger with these wheels than what comes with it from the factory. Now if you're going to look around and maybe go with a different wheel than these, the big thing I'll tell you is you got to make sure that it has these longer stems so that it goes through the framework and the pan so you can get it attached. And you can see these are a bit different here in size. This here's a 5/16, this here's a 3/8. You can use the existing hole. All you're going to do is just feed this stud up through there, put a washer on it, put a nut, do it to all 4 corners. Make sure that you put the 2 that have the brakes side by side. So you can do one here and one here, or one here and one here, but don't do them opposite. You want them together. Now I didn't mention before, these casters that come from Home Depot have these like little rubber O-rings on them. You do need to take that rubber O-ring off so that you get more clearance, because it's barely going to go through just enough to get a nut on there to attach this to the seat. So make sure and take the rubber O-ring off. Now for the rest of the assembly, all we're going to do is you just take your shock and it just slides down in there. If you've ever assembled an office chair, you know what that's like, and that just sits in there. And then what you're going to do is just line up this hole here with the top up here and push it down, and you're good to go. And there we have it. So that project went really well. It's a quick project, and you know, you get a lot of benefit from something like that. It's just a great stool. Now, you know, I love doing the wheel upgrade on this. It's been a game changer in terms of the quality of the stool and how nice it is and how maneuverable it is around my garage. It doesn't get caught on all the little things. It can go over the seams and the concrete. It just works way better. And I gotta tell you, having the locking wheels is a game changer as well. There are many times on doing something, buffing a car or trying to drive something in when you're working on stuff, and you don't want your stool backing up, and it's so nice to be able to lock those wheels in place so it doesn't move, as well as if you're working on a slope surface like out in your driveway like I have. It's a real big game changer. So it does great. I'm looking forward to actually getting to use this stool, and this is actually going to become Dad's stool, and I'm going to let the kids play with the other one there since it's gotten a bit more use out of it. Now this whole project's going to run you about $85 total for the stool. Now the stool itself runs $62. That's shipped to you off of Amazon. The wheels are going to run about $22 picked up at your local Home Depot. So you're about $85. Now that's a bit more than the cheap stools that are out there. They're going to run you $20 to $40, but it's quite a bit less than the ones out there that are going to cost you well over $100. So I think we kind of fall in the middle there, but you get some great features and you get a durable stool that's going to last you for a while, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Now I'll supply some links down below in the description so you can go and check out everything you saw me use here today for yourself. Now if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and hit that like button for me. It just lets YouTube know that y'all appreciate my content. If you'd like to see more videos like this one in the future, why don't you hit that subscribe button and stick around here with me in the garage. As always, I appreciate you stopping by, and thanks for watching.